Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Talkin Sports. I'm your host, Andrew, and this is my virtual co host.
Miles Shield, how you guys doing?
Yes, that's right. We are back with another episode. I believe this will be the first time we've posted two episodes in like 3 days. We've recorded two episodes in 3 days. This will be a interesting show here, but we got a really nice show going on for you guys today. Episode 27. We got a little news segment that we got to cover real quick before we get started. Then we got some NFL trade predictions as the NFL trade deadline is starting to approach. And finally, we'll round off this episode with NFL midseason predictions. We'll be kind of building off of what we've seen so far in the first half of the NFL. So, Miles, why don't you go ahead and kick us off with our first little news story here?
All right. Well, I hate to start the episode like this because this is really it's a bummer. Cam Scattaboo, and this is new within the last few hours. Cam Scattaboo went down against the Eagles with a serious ankle injury. And when I say serious, his ankle was pointing the wrong way. It was probably the saddest moment of the NFL season so far this year. Scattaboo, who in my opinion was a front runner for Offensive Rookie of the Year. This is a brutal injury for him, probably a season ending. We don't know for sure. You could just see his team was destroyed by this. And this, affected the rest of the game. Not having Scattaboo, the Giants ended up losing by 18, I believe. And Scotty was just such a big piece of this team. I mean, when he got hurt, you saw it. Dart took off his helmet and was just swearing. I mean, he was so mad. And he
Mm.
wasn't mad, for himself, because obviously this is going to have a huge effect on Jackson Dart. He was more mad because this is his teammate, this is his best friend, and he's down. And now Jackson Dart really is stranded with no neighbors, no Scattaboo. It could get really ugly in New York. And, you saw his whole team around him. So just hope that Scattaboo can recover from this and come back and continue destroying.
Yeah, definitely. Very sad to see, especially for me because Cam Scattaboo was on my fantasy team this year. I picked him up and he was doing really well, but now I'm going to be without him for the rest of the season, most likely. So, very sad to see. Once again, echoing what Miles said, hope Cam Scattaboo can get back to form very soon. The next news story we have staying with the NFL, Derrick Henry has passed Walter Payton for fifth all time on the rushing leaderboard. I believe that's for rushing yards. I believe if I'm
For rushing touchdowns.
rushing touchdowns. Excuse me. Thank you, Miles. Impressive for Derrick Henry, even though his season has not been his best season overall, but the Ravens as a whole have not been at their best this season. So, congratulations to Derrick Henry. I picked him up in fantasy this week too, so I think that touchdown could have come at a better time for me and the Ravens so far this season. Miles, do you have any other thoughts on that?
No, congrats to him, though. He's had such a great career, and he's done a lot for this league.
Definitely. Moving on, we have to talk about the World Series in the MLB. Right now, the series is tied at 1-1. The Blue Jays taking game one by a score of 4-11 over the Dodgers. And mind you, the Dodgers just swept the Brewers in 4 games. And in that whole series, I think they only gave up a grand total of 4 runs, which is very impressive. And the Blue Jays come out against the Dodgers and score 11, with Addison Barger hitting a big grand slam and then Alejandro Kirk hitting another big home run in that same inning to open up the inning or open up that game. 9-run inning, I believe, for the Blue Jays. So that's a very impressive game for the Blue Jays. However, the Dodgers said, we're not phased by that 11-run score by the Blue Jays as they came back in Game 2 last night, being the Blue Jays 5-1, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto threw another complete game against the Toronto Blue Jays, only allowing 1 run. So incredible stuff we're seeing in the World Series so far. We're seeing a lot of parity so far in the World Series, and that is what really makes the World Series very interesting. Miles, any thoughts on what the rest of the series may look like?
No idea. I did not expect the Blue Jays to put up that many runs. I thought, with that high-powered Dodgers team, I did not think that we'd be seeing a game like we saw game one. So honestly, this could go either way, right? It's 1-1 is the series, so it could go either way.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what the series is going to have another game tonight, or either tonight or tomorrow night, for Game Three. So, and to the Blue Jays' credit, they've only limited the Dodgers to 9 runs in total, and they've outscored the Dodgers so far. So, again, anything can happen in this series. And to round off our news segment here, Miles has some little information and a couple stories from around college football.
Yeah, there are some big stories going around right now. Arch Manning concussed in the overtime for Texas. That is big. He hasn't had the season that everyone's been thinking he was going to have, so I expect to see him back again. He'll be trying to finish out this year strong, and I think he'll be back playing college football again next year. The other thing is Colorado's humiliating loss to Utah, 53-7. They were down by over 40 points at half. It was brutal to see. Brutal.
Definitely, yeah. Coach Prime may not be doing a prime job over in Boulder right now for the Colorado team and the entire football team. Maybe they need Shador Sanders more than they think, and Travis Hunter
Yeah.
as well.
Well, you should hear what this is a quote from Deion Sanders from Coach Prime. He said about the game, "This is bad. This is probably the worst beating I've ever had, except when my mama whooped me as a kid."
Oh
Whew,
man,
that's bad.
yeah,
That's really bad, and I that was a embarrassing game for Colorado, and they look like the OG Colorado. Um, and I don't know what the future of Deion Sanders in Colorado is.
yeah, definitely. But that'll wrap it up for our news segment. Now we move on to our first kind of big segment story, whatever you want to call it, in this episode. We have some NFL trade deadline predictions as the trade deadline approaches in about, I think, about a week. We're coming up on a week. I believe on Tuesday will be a full week before the NFL trade deadline. And me and Miles have kind of composed a list of players that could be traded and where they might be traded. So, Miles, would you go ahead and start us off here? What you have for your NFL trade deadline thoughts?
Yeah, I think the Chiefs need to get that run game going. And we know the Chiefs are a very aggressive team. So I think the Chiefs go out and trade for the Jets running back Brees Hall. I think they trade Kareem Hunt and a 6th-round pick to acquire Brees Hall, who has not yet scored a touchdown this season.
Okay, definitely. That would be the first time that a Jets running back has joined the Chiefs, and if they do go on to win the Super Bowl, that's what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of Le'Veon Bell after he joined the Jets and ended up, I believe he signed with the Chiefs, or like he got cut by the Jets and signed with the Chiefs, and I think they went on to go win a Super Bowl that year, maybe, or they made it to the Super Bowl at the bare minimum. I think that was the year they played Brady, maybe, and they didn't win it. Sorry, that just kind of popped in my head there. A little side tangent there. For my first trade, or at least what I'm thinking that Trey Hendrickson is going to be dealt by the Cincinnati Bengals to the Dallas Cowboys. I can already hear Miles in his mind thinking, wow, the Cowboys are really, really dumb, and Andrew might be really dumb for suggesting this. But hear me out. The Cowboys' defense has been pretty abysmal this year so far, and Trey Hendrickson can surely help that. Now, for the price that the Cowboys might have to give up, when I'm looking at the Micah Parsons trade as kind of comparison, I'm looking at the Cowboys maybe having to give up one or two, maybe more first round picks, and instead of giving up a player compensation in Kenny Clark like they received from the Green Bay Packers. So that's just kind of what I'm thinking. But if the Bengals are thinking with their head, they are going to be demanding a lot for Trey Hendrickson going forward.
Yeah, that would be a interesting move, and I think that'd be a very dumb move from the Cowboys, just because of the fact that they got they would be giving up more to get a guy older and starting and being at the end of his prime, right? They're giving up more to get him than they got giving up Micah Parsons. So I think that's a interesting move. I think it actually could happen. But I don't think that they will value Trey Hendrickson or Max Crosby or whoever they may go out and get, I don't think they will value them very much.
Okay, interesting. What's your next trade, though, Miles?
For my next trade, I have the Giants making a move to try to somewhat save their season, also continue building on their future. And I see them trading for New Orleans Saints wide receiver Chris Olave. I see them trading a second round pick and a fourth round pick for Olave. I just think I could not see them giving up a first round pick. And just because I feel like wide receivers are very undervalued. So I think a second round and a fourth round, those are pretty high picks. And especially if you're the Giants, you could be in the top 10 in the second round. Sometimes that's even better than being in the late first round. You get to see what you got. So I think that could be a good move for the New York Giants.
Interesting. And speaking of Chris Olave, one of my other trades is I have Chris Olave either heading to the Patriots or the Broncos. I feel like for the Patriots, they truly need a wide receiver one, and I feel like they really don't have that at this moment. And Keyshawn Boutte has been very good for Drake May and the Patriots so far this year. Stephon Diggs has been there. He's been helping to support that offense, but they really do need a wide receiver one, and I feel like that can come in the form of Chris Olave. And the other team could be the Denver Broncos, and I can kind of see a Saints partnering up here. Chris Olave and Sean Payton. Sean Payton, the former head coach of the New Orleans Saints. I can see that being a potential partnership. And the Broncos, I don't think Courtland Sutton is bad, but I feel like this year he hasn't really shown that he is that number one wide receiver, in my opinion, at least. I feel like that the New Orleans Saints can potentially move on from Olave, and the Broncos can potentially upgrade at the wide receiver one position and increase their depth in the wide receiver room with Chris Olave.
Yeah, that I think Olave, we can both agree, has to be traded. I think they need to strip the Saints organization to the bones and build up. And I don't know if Tyler Shock will be the guy they'll build around. I don't think Spencer Rattler will be the guy, but I think at this point you gotta give Shock a chance to be your quarterback. You're never gonna know if you never try. And honestly, could we see the Saints possibly make a trade for a guy like Shedeur Sanders? Make it interesting? I don't know. But we'll see what happens. Me, personally, I had other Saints getting traded, like Alvin Kamara and Cameron Jordan. I don't know where they're going to go at this point, but I do think that we will see the three best players on the Saints in different uniforms.
Yeah, I agree. But that's the trades I have. Do you have any more, Miles, before we move on?
Nope, that's all I got.
All right. So we move on now to the final segment of today's show. We are going to be kind of remaking some picks for the 2025 NFL season. We are about halfway through now. We're into week 8. Week 9 will be next week. That will be the official halfway mark through the NFL season. But me and Miles are just kind of get a little out in front of it, if you know what I mean. So me and Miles have some predictions. We have a couple awards that we want to hand out, starting with our most surprising teams of the NFL season. And for me, I have the Indianapolis Colts being 6-1 right now, coming into Week 8, absolutely playing phenomenal football, led by Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor. They've just been outstanding and something that we did not see, and Miles might be one to agree.
Yeah, the Colts were definitely a team I had written down, and I'm gonna be the first to admit it. I had the Colts being one of the worst teams in my predictions beginning of the year. I did not expect any of this to happen. I did not expect Daniel Jones to pop off the way he has. But the Colts have been surprising. I'd say they're the most surprising team. But to kind of make it interesting, I'd also say the Patriots, the New England Patriots, are a team that I maybe did not expect to have the leap they did. They're 5-2 right now. Mm-hmm. New head coach Mike Vrabel. He's been killing it. He has been amazing this year. And the other guy who's been amazing and flourishing under Mike Vrabel is Drake May.
Mm-hmm.
Drake May's been phenomenal, and there's been zero run game. Travion Henderson has been super disappointing after coming off after that amazing preseason. Rahamjay Stevenson can't keep the ball high and tight. You really don't have a number one wide receiver, and Stephon Diggs is inconsistent. Um, so I don't know. I don't know what they do at this point, but they're doing it, and their defense is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say the two most surprising teams have been the Colts and the Patriots.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, definitely, definitely. But now we have the most disappointing team so far of the NFL season. And for me, that has been the Baltimore Ravens. And coming into this year, I had the Ravens being the number one team in the AFC and being atop the AFC North. And right now, they're finding themselves towards the bottom and not being in a good position to win that division. Like, a lot of things are going to have to go right for that team if they want to win that division. So, Lamar Jackson being hurt certainly does not help. That defense has not been as good in previous years. I think the Baltimore Ravens are definitely missing Mike McDonald right now as their defensive coordinator because that's really the only guy they've lost. If anything, they've only added guys on the defense, but they lost the big guy, and that was Mike McDonald. So the most disappointing team for me is the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I had the exact same thing. The Ravens have been awful. I mean, I I also had the Ravens being the best team in the league, and I did not expect this to happen at all. I don't think anyone could have expected the Ravens to take this kind of dip that they did. And honestly, they'll be lucky if they even get in the wild card. And you got to question if they do this, right? If they don't make the playoffs, who are they going to draft? Right? What do you draft at that point? What is your biggest concern? Because it's hard to look at that team and say and right away point out what's their biggest need. Because it looks like on paper they don't need anyone. But obviously something's not right. You got to think about that. I would say to be different than you, I would also say the most disappointing team would also be the New York Jets. I know I'm probably the only guy in the world who actually had hope for them, but I'm just gonna say I don't think they are meant to be uh, defeated like they have been 0-7. Not anymore. They did win today, getting their first win, which congrats to them. Beating the Bengals and Joe Flacco by one. They've also been extremely, extremely disappointing.
Definitely. Some other disappointing teams I'm thinking of, like the Houston Texans with CJ Stroud kind of struggling this year. I mean, that O line certainly isn't helping him, but I'm looking at the Texans and saying that if they are not atop the AFC South right now, they have the Colts and the Jags ahead of them. Like, that's not what you want to see if you're a Houston Texans fan. I'm also looking at it. I'm looking at the Washington Commanders. I know Jane Daniels has been hurt a lot, but an inconsistent play from Marcus Mariota really isn't helping them. But I'm looking at the Commanders right now. They're supposed to be competing for that division, and the Eagles, like Miles have said on this show several times, that the Eagles do not deserve to be as good as they has been. So the Commanders, we all thought would be a team that could challenge the Eagles potentially, but right now the Commanders need a lot to go right in the second half, and I think that just shows how disappointing their first half of the season has been so far.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
All right, moving on. We have some other awards. Me and Miles predicted who the MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, awards like that, who would be in the preseason. Now we have some like kind of award predictions for what we can see in the rest of the season. Who might be those award winners after the season is over? Starting with the MVP, I have Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys. And the Cowboys are another team that I probably should have put down as the most surprising team because I did not expect that Dallas Cowboys team and that offense to be as good as it is because that offense for the Cowboys has been absolutely phenomenal. And Dak Prescott is playing like an MVP candidate along with guys like Baker Mayfield and having that connection with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens now coming into the fold. Javonte Williams also as another weapon for Dak Prescott. He's been very good. And they got Jake Ferguson. Dak Prescott is probably the best quarterback in the NFL, like statistically, maybe next to Baker Mayfield. So Dak Prescott for me is my MVP pick for the rest of the regular season.
Well, my MVP pick would have to be Patrick Mahomes. he has looked prime Patrick Mahomes, and he has done it with pretty much nobody. No Rasheed Rice, no what's his name, Xavier Worthy. It has been poor, and when you got Juju Smith-Schuster as like your main guy, or what's his name, Tyquan Thornton, like the fact that he's doing what he's doing is very impressive. So I would put Patrick Mahomes as my MVP.
Okay, definitely. If you heard something in the background, that was my doorbell, so don't worry about that. It's fine. Uh, anyway, moving on to another note, looking at I think it's the Offensive Player of the Year. I have Jonathan Taylor, running back for the Indianapolis Colts. He has been the guy that Daniel Jones has been able to rely on. So he's been extremely consistent, scoring, averaging over a touchdown per game. Jonathan Taylor's been very impressive. He's my easy pick for the offensive rookie of the year, or I mean, not offensive rookie of the year, offensive player of the year.
Yeah, I would agree. And usually I try to be different and, disagree with you or do whatever. But this one is too clear. It is too obvious that Jonathan Taylor deserves Offensive Player of the Year if he continues to play how he has been. And honestly, he could be in talks for MVP if he continues to play the way he has. And I think maybe if you want to throw in a little spice in there, maybe Baker Mayfield could be in talks for Offensive Player of the Year. But I'm going to say Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Some other guys, maybe Bijan Robinson could be another guy. CMC could be another pick for offensive player of the year. I'm also looking at maybe George Pickens has been very good for the Dallas Cowboys. Like I think George Pickens could be a sleeper pick, and same with DK Metcalf in my opinion as well. Moving on, defensive player of the year. I had my pick early in the year was Micah Parsons, and me and Miles kind of communicated earlier in the show, and I decided to be different, and I went with Brian Burns. And Brian Burns is low key having a underrated season for the Giants right now, along with Abdul Carter, who's been able to get a lot of pressures. Brian Burns has been able to lead the league in sacks. I believe he's actually tied for the league leading in sacks with 9 solo sacks, and it's very impressive for Brian Burns. We all know he's very talented, but quietly Brian Burns is having a phenomenal season. So Brian Burns is my pick for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing, but honestly, I'm a Packer guy, so I had to go Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
He just came off of a 3-sack game. I mean, keep it up, Micah. I want to see Micah be Defensive Player of the Year his first year with the Packers and take us to the Super Bowl and win it for us.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Micah was my preseason prediction. I wanted to keep going with Micah, but I wanted to be different and like showing that like Brian Burns, when I looked at the stats, my eyes kind of got wide. I was like, oh man, he's having this good of a season. Yeah, he's an easy pick. Brian Burns is. Next up for the Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think so far it's a clear and obvious pick, and that is Jackson Dart, quarterback for the New York Giants. He's been outstanding. He's really elevated the performance of that Giants team ever since being the starter for that Giants team and that offense. Even though they did lose Cam Scatterboo and Malik Neighbors, still, that Giants offense, led by Jackson Dart, has been something else, and he's a clear and obvious defense or offensive rookie of the year pick.
Wow, taking my pick, I see.
Oh, come on.
Well, I also saw Jackson Dart being a offensive rookie of the year, and he is leading all rookie quarterbacks in passing touchdowns. He is the future of the New York Giants, and the question isn't, is he going to be the franchise quarterback? It's going to be, what is the franchise going to look like built around Jackson Dart? And Jackson Dart, I mean, I would have hated to be in the Titan situation because they had to pick Cam Ward. Let's be honest, they didn't really have a choice. They had to pick him. And look at Cam Ward now. I would not want that. I wouldn't want that. I'd want Jackson Dart because he's been phenomenal. So I'm going to say Jackson Dart is my offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, I did say the clear and obvious pick is Jackson Dart. So, I mean, like, who else can you really go with? Maybe besides Quinshawn Judkins of the Browns.
Ooh,
Just
that is
saying.
a good pick.
Yeah, just saying. Maybe I should have picked Judkins. Maybe I should have done that. And finally, or not finally, the defensive rookie of the year, I have Nick Emanwari, safety for the Seattle Seahawks. And along with Quandre Diggs and Tariq Woolen and Devon Witherspoon, he is really helping to lead that defense. Even though he doesn't have as many interceptions as some other safeties in the league, maybe like Xavier McKinney did last year, he's not blowing the stats off the page. But Nicky Manwari, I've been watching him, has been very solid in coverage in those zone coverage plays, and that's what I really like to see out of someone like Nicky Manwari. So he's my defensive rookie of the year pick.
Yeah. I mean that Seahawks team is a team that I would have probably put up with surprising too. I did not expect them to be that good, especially now with Sam Darnold at the helm. But they were, and I like that pick. But I would go Jihad Campbell, the linebacker for the Eagles. He has been phenomenal, and to me, he's the clear defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, definitely. Jihad Campbell helping to anchor that Eagles defense that has been very stout so far this year. And we have comeback player of the year, and I think this is another clear and obvious one, but it's Daniel Jones for the Indianapolis Colts. He has really reestablished that Colts team and really put them back in a position to win that division. And who expected Daniel Jones to be the guy to help the Colts team be the most surprising team in the NFL, have the best record in the NFL, and let alone the AFC? So Daniel Jones, yeah, he's comeback player of the year for me.
Well, I can tell you right now, I didn't expect it. We could probably go back and listen to the film of me saying Daniel Jones is washed, Daniel Jones is terrible, Daniel Jones is whatever. But you got to have respect for him. He has played phenomenal football, and he's leading this Colts to what I could see down a path that leads them to the Super Bowl this year. And I could very well see it, the Colts winning the Super Bowl.
Over the Packers, most likely.
I'm gonna say it. Comeback player of the year, Daniel Jones. That's what everyone's saying, and that's if he does not win MVP, because I do think he will be in the top 4 of MVP candidates,
along with Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Baker Mayfield, Drake May, guys like that, probably.
Yeah, that'd be the top 5 right there.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Daniel Jones.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Finally, coach of the year. Preseason, I had Zach Taylor of the Bengals. Yeah, my coach of the year pick this year is going to be, or now looking at it midseason, is going to be Mike Vrabel of the New England Patriots. Like, we already talked about the Patriots and Drake May, how surprising that team has been, but truly, Mike Vrabel has been able to help that team succeed, help Drake May succeed. Even as a defensive-minded head coach, he's still been very, very solid for the New England Patriots in his first year with the team. Miles, I'm expecting you have the same answer probably.
I do. But I'm going to look back at my other predictions, because I did have Mike Vrabel this year for what I think he could win Coach of the Year. I think it's pretty much locked up so far. The 5-2 Patriots have been phenomenal, and they're playing all-around good football with a very limited team. But I think my beginning of the year prediction of Dave Canales isn't far off. No. The Panthers are 4-4 now because they lost to the Bills today. But they've looked pretty good, and they could very well book themselves a seat in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. Panthers, they've been another team that's been quietly surprising. Maybe not to the level as the Colts or the Patriots or teams like that, but the Panthers have definitely elevated their performance, and Dave Canales and Bryce Young as well have been clear and obvious reasons for that. But that is all the predictions that I have. I really have nothing else to say. Miles, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we wrap it up?
No, it sounds good.
All right. Well, there you go. Those are our predictions, and midway through the NFL season, technically midway, it's midway for us. We're 8 weeks in. We got 17 games overall. You can kind of say we're halfway through the NFL season. We also had the trade deadline predictions as well. So you guys are going to have to let us know down in the comments what you think of our predictions, if we're absolute bozos for some of the picks we made and some of the predictions we made. But that will do it for us. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did enjoy it, please check out all the other episodes that we have on not only this show, but in my show, Talkin NASCAR with Andrew Volkman. It's a lot of fun over there, so hope you guys go check that out. But I'm Andrew Volkman.
And I'm Show.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.